What's up, y'all? Hopefully, y'all can hear me. You can go live on here. What's up, y'all? Hopefully, y'all can hear me. Let's see. You can go live on here. Had a little feedback. Let's go ahead and fix this. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm also going to be going live on TikTok for those of y'all who want to know about my TikTok. Let's get to it. It's out there bad. I'm out there bad on everything. Out there bad on everything. So let's get to it. I want to have a conversation. One, I also want to see who all's up with me tonight. Yeah, I know. For those of y'all who do not know, so I have a new show. It's coming called This Ain't What You Want. I need a haircut and stuff like that. All right. Let's see. Just waiting on somebody else to come on. All right. There you go. I see. I'm also going to bring in this here. So we're finna go live. Y'all ready? Let's get this here started. So what's up, everybody? I'm back in here again on my own, trying to run all this here. It's hard when you run a whole studio by yourself. So for those who don't know, I run a studio called Up Close Studios. And with my studio, I mean, I'm able to do everything. I have full service, everything. But this ain't an ad right now. I'm not doing an ad. I just want to have a conversation because I'm up. It's late. I want to see who else is up with me. Who else is up with me? So let's do that. All right, so I have to be centered a little bit more. They say I'm not centered. All right, there you go. How I look now. But let's get started. All right, so I wanted to talk about a couple things, and I want y'all to jump in. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about some politics. We're going to talk about Grammys, and some music, some everything. Let's just have a good conversation for tonight. You up? So I'm right here. I'm going nowhere. Just checking on something real quick. Make sure I bring your comments up so I can see everything. All right, let's get to it. So how many of y'all watched the Grammys? That's what I want to know. How many of y'all watched the Grammys? I know it's been a couple days. I mean, what's today? It's Tuesday night. You know, the Grammys is on Sunday. This is honestly one of the best Grammys that there's been for a little while. Because most of these Grammys have sucked. And I'm not saying it was great just because it was a whole bunch of, representation for different people. It was just put together well. I like Trevor Noah. I think he is a great host and he needs to host more stuff. Yeah, he's really got to host more things. But not only does he need to host more things, we need to start giving him some more credit and stuff like that because he's doing a good job. And so it was just a good show. Like his opening monologue was pretty good. I posted it on my TikTok. I tried to post it on my YouTube, but they was like, nah, or I should say on the company's YouTube. And they definitely was like, no. But I think it was pretty good though. I loved all the performances, even people I don't normally watch. I don't care much for Chappell Roan and none of that kind of stuff. And I know she's big. Sabrina Carpenter, I know they're big artists. I know they're big pop stars, but this ain't my wheelhouse, So I do have a question though, because like I said, we're going to talk about a couple different things. We're going to talk about, not only are we going to talk about, pop culture, entertainment. I want to talk a little sports, but I also definitely want to get into politics because I want to hear from some of y'all people. So y'all get your questions in order right now. Start letting me know what you're going to talk about when it comes to or what you want to hear, because I got to let y'all know how I'm feeling. And some of this stuff I'm still torn between. But we don't get to that. I'm torn between should I care or concern myself about how a lot of these people are feeling politically, or should I do nothing? Because by not caring, I set myself up to have to deal with the stupidity on the back end. Even my cousin, she told me, hey, don't worry about this stuff. Think about the birds and all that kind of stuff. Think about something else. When them people start saying something all stupid and wild and crazy, go off somewhere else and think about something else. But it's hard because that means I got to deal with that. I have to deal with the ramifications of somebody who's sitting up here talking about just BS. You know what? I want to start off with the Grammys, but I just have to get on this here. So like, I know y'all have seen about Elongated Muskrat and all this stuff that he's doing, and they're trying to figure out what to do in South Africa, and they're trying to figure out what to do in Gaza and all this kind of stuff because they want to make a parking lot and beachfront resort and all that kind of stuff. And they wanted to talk about also what's happening with Greenland and Canada. And if you notice, some of these deals, some of these things lead to one thing. It's globalization, all right? And it's globalization and keeping white folks on top. And I'm not talking about all, because I don't want to scare everybody off. It's not about that. And I'm finna steal this from Amanda Seales. I know she's very controversial to some people, but she's very honest about one thing. There are white people, and then there are people who happen to be white. Because some of my best friends in the world are people who happen to be white. And you can always tell the difference. Anybody who looks like me can tell the difference between which one you're dealing with. I'm not talking about that old BS cookout stuff. I'm talking about real things, like if I have a conversation with this person, even if they get it wrong, I know it's not coming from a place of malice. I know it's not coming from a place of hate. Even if it comes from a place of ignorance sometimes, I know it's not coming from a place of hate. Those people we can work with. But the rest of these, and let's go about subject. Let's pick one thing. Like, which one y'all think we should start with? Because they all just get on. Let's just start off with the tariffs. Because it really, I'm sitting back like, oh, let these people, let stupidity run rampant. Let it go out there and just do what it do. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to just be like, I'll let them be who they are. I'll let them do what they do. I'll let them do all of that. And then I start thinking about it. By their incompetence, I have to pay higher grocery prices. This dude, and so we know, yes, it's President Musk, Cheeto Jesus, Junior Varsity Vance, and all the rest of them. I'll give names as we go. But I want y'all to know that I'm not talking about people as a whole. I'm talking about these specific people. I'm very blunt. I'm very honest. And if you don't like who I'm talking about, that I'm talking about them that way, that's more of a reflection on you and not me. Because free speech and all this other stuff you say don't work only one way when it's for you and against everybody else. But anyways, I don't know if y'all remember, we used to have something called NAFTA. We had NAFTA. And these folks swore up and down that this was the worst deal ever. Worst deal. Worse. This is the horrible thing. And I remember this. I remember NAFTA. And don't get me wrong, it had its problems. But all deals do. When you're an imperial nation like a settler state like America, yes, you're going to have nations. Love America. I'm from here. But I've been all over the world. And most people who swear they love one place so much have never been anywhere. It's kind of like, it's like this here. It's like when you talk to people who talk about their nana's cooking. You know, oh, my mother make the best banana pudding in the world. She make the best banana pudding in the world. Oh, cool. Oh, have you had banana pudding from over here? Oh, no, I only eat my mama's. Okay, then how do you know it's the best in the world if you've never had anybody else's? I'm not saying it won't be the best, but until you've had others, you have no basis of comparison. So just say you only eat. Don't say yours is the best. Say you only like your mama's and you ain't gonna eat nothing else. Cool. Be faithful to your mama's banana pudding. And that's how I look at like a lot of people when they talk about these countries. I love America because I've been to America and because I've been everywhere else too. Lived in Germany, been to Japan, been all over the world, been to Egypt, been to a bunch of African nations, been to the places I haven't gone as much as South America, but I want to go to more. And it is a funny thing, side note, Very funny thing that people make fun of me because I've been all over the world. I've been to places that I didn't even realize I had gone to until I looked back at some of my old passports and was like, what country is this? And then I've never been to Mexico, and I am in Houston, Texas. Mexico is across the street pretty much. Don't know why. It's a very weird story as far when I was supposed to went when I was younger and I didn't go from high school, but I've never been to Mexico. But everywhere else I've been to. So I bring it back to what they're doing with these tariffs. We had NAFTA. NAFTA was an easy way to transport goods across the borders, and as long as they had certain rules and regulations that they met, it was cool. Somebody said this is the worst deal ever back in 2017, but he campaigned on it in 2015, 16. We're going to tear that up. Cool. Tore it up. Came up with the USMCA. Isn't it funny how close to YMCA it is? But anyway, that's a whole nother story. USMCA, which was in essence the exact same deal, except it made it a little bit easier for some people to make even more money. And it wasn't Americans per se, because what it did was increase the price of cars. Because cars go back and forth across the border all the time. I'm not talking about the ones that are fully built together, your Toyota, your Nissan, your Mercedes, something. I'm talking about the ones that are still being built, where the engine is put in one place and something else is done here, where all of them are shipped to a port, and at the port they put in the sunroofs and the seats and all that kind of stuff. This happens a lot. So all of a sudden the cars start to spike because this new deal made certain stuff, remember, because y'all supposed to be against regulations, but it made it much more expensive. And guess what they're going to do when it's more expensive? They're going to pass that cost on to you. And that's what they did. They passed the cost on to us. So we ended up spending way more money for cars. Then all of a sudden COVID hit and it made things even worse. All right. So anyway, fast forward to now. We have a dude who's sitting up there talking about, I'm talking about Cheeto Jesus, number 2 in command. Yeah, we had the worst deal ever. This deal with Mexico and this deal with Canada is a horrible deal. They're horrible deals. Horrible deals. Okay, why are they horrible deals? They just are. They're bad deals. And I was sitting here thinking, you wrote those deals. Aren't you supposed to be the supreme deal maker, the art of the deal? Isn't it supposed to be you? And what bothers me and what I really want to get to, and this is what I want y'all to talk to me back on. This is what I want to understand. How is it? How is it that people can see this? We have the internet. Hell, we got AI. You can see and hear everything that's ever been said and done, and then compare it to what's being said now and see if a person is telling the truth or lying. I will chalk up maybe, if you have a pot of 100 people, I will say 20 people are checked out. I don't get mad at the people who are checked out. I do get mad because there's no excuse for you not to be able to spend 10 minutes, 20 minutes figuring out, because everything in America's politics, it just is. And it's all steeped in race. No matter how much you try to remove it, it is, because that's what the politics were built upon. But anyways, how is it that you can't see what has happened? How is it that you just can't see what has happened? Put that together and look at it and say, this man wrote the deal back in 2017 and 18 and tore up this and created this new one. And then now it's saying, oh, we need a new deal. Because that last deal sucked. So is he saying that the last deal sucked? So is he lying or is he stupid? Because if he is either A, lying, or B, stupid, and you follow him, what would that make you? And I'm not saying everybody's stupid. Like I said, 20% people checked out. They don't know anything. They're just going about their life. They either trying to turn up or they out here trying to just be, whatever. They only care about their children playing soccer, or they got a lot going on. They're barely, they work in a factory or somewhere where it's a lot of noise. They don't have time to be playing on their phone. They just checked out. They live for, when football come on, I'm gonna go watch that. It's the only time I'm here. But outside of that, they got other stuff to do. That's fine. That's understandable. I get that. But then we go on to the next 20%. There's the 20% who are pretty much anti no matter what it is. And those are the people right now that would probably be on the right side. They are on the right side of history. They checked out as far as they not going for nothing that's said. But it can be dangerous because when you are just completely anti everything, it leaves a little room. Hold on a second now. We're still talking about humans and people, because I believe that I could absolutely think you're the worst person, but I still have the modicum of respect for you until I see that you don't care about the humanity of somebody, which is why I have a problem with Elongated Muskrat and Cheeto Jesus, because they don't care about the humanity of people. And it's not even so much as them only. It's the people behind them. It's Stephen Miller. It's all this stuff. So I come back to the point, to the question of how is it that you people who are in that next 20%, who are kind of informed, but you really don't know enough, and you're scared to say that you don't know enough, so you just kind of go with it. You're apathetic. That's that group. The apathetic group. All right. Then that's that one there. Then your next one, I kind of can't get mad at again. So I got 20% of people I'm mad at. The apathetic group, because you can know better. You kind of figure out, but you ain't gonna do nothing. Then you got the next 20%, which is I can't really get mad at them. That group is I have nothing that I'm able to do. They could be 16 and really can't do a whole lot. They could be 69, 71 and in hospice, can't do a whole lot. They can't get out, they're hurt, they're injured, whatever else. There's those people. They have a view, but they really don't. They don't have no influence and all that kind of stuff. Then there's that last one. Y'all know where I'm going with this one here. These the diehard sycophants. These the people who are the D-riders. This is the people who are the stands, that no matter what is said, they all in. And that's what I want to talk to. The people who are the stands and the people who are apathetic. How did y'all get here? How is it that y'all have access to the internet? You're on devices watching me right now. And I ain't nobody yet, but y'all are watching me. Y'all watching all of the different people and all of the different things. And how is it that y'all can sit up here and watch the stuff and have access to the internet and know everything that's going wrong and look at it and be like, yeah, that makes sense? Because I want to talk about a conspiracy theory. Because see, I'm from the era when everything was blamed on the Illuminati and the people behind. They used to act like government was some foreign arbitrary thing, like it was a hidden function somewhere, like it was a mystical alien thing that came down. Oh, the government. Well, the government's people. Y'all do know the government. Like there's the building. Like you can go see the building. Like it's like the people are right there. Like you can go see them, touch them, call them. You can pick up the phone right now. 202. Don't give me a lot of tea. I forgot the rest of the number. But you can find the rest of the number and call these people. I'm in Texas. If I need to call Ted Cruz, I can call this man. So these are not weird foreign people. They're people who you have access to. They're representatives of you. They're supposed to act on your behalf. So that leads me to believe that either A, y'all are for all of the inhumane things that are happening, or you have sunk cost fallacy. You're so far gone deep inside of it that you're scared that if you say I was wrong, then you have a problem. And to the smallest, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong, to the smallest little nth degree, I kind of get, because nobody wants to know that they nana was racist or that the banana pudding that your mama made wasn't that good. Nobody wants to know that. And nobody wants to know that, because what ends up happening is when you know that, you have to do something about it. So you'd rather not say anything or not do anything. But guess what? If your grandmother or grandfather was racist and all that kind of stuff, or your son or your mom's banana pudding sucks, it's okay. It's not gonna hurt nobody. Just say, "Hey, I enjoyed it, but I found out that such and such over here had way better," and you move on. So when you hear about these policies and hear about these things, and I'm going back to the tariffs, when you hear about this stuff and you see what the stock market did, and you see what all of the stuff that happened, and you could physically see that is affecting you. And then you can hear a person lie to you in your face, and say, I think that these deals were horrible, knowing that the person who made the deal is the one saying it. And then Trudeau, who people have their problems with, and I'm not in Canada. I only know what I can find out from sources not in America. It's not American stuff, so I don't care about what America has to say about it. I go to the Canadian sources and stuff like that. But anyway, you find out what it is that they're saying and talking about. And I see the good and the bad of Justin Trudeau. But I don't know enough about it, and his life and the things that he does affects me very little. But he just turned around and gave our supposed leader, the person supposed to represent all of us, Cheeto Jesus, all of this stuff here that he says that we were supposed to be getting, and it was stuff that was already had. The $1.2 billion we already had. That was negotiated back in November. Again, we have access to the internet. We can find all of this stuff out. So why is it that we're sitting here acting like we don't have access to the internet? Why is this? Tell me what, help me understand why this is positive. Help me understand, how is this even something that we have access to almost all of the world's information and can't figure out how to check and see if somebody is lying to us, unless we'd like to be lied to. Now, I am on record on I'm not calling it X, it's Twitter. I don't care what nobody say. Mama named him Clay, I'm gonna call him Clay. So, but I had my pinned post on there, which was always has been, hypocrisy is America's favorite pastime. Because that's what it is. And I'm still trying to learn what this 20% of the population is going about and thinking about, as to how you can see the inhumanity and the lies and the idiocy. And then you'll get mad at me for calling it out, but you won't deal with the situation right there. And so, and it's always funny, because here's the thing I want to get to as well too. Because like I said, I grew up in the Illuminati days. You know, everything was the Illuminati. Everything was the government and the people behind it. Now they're wide open. Stephen Miller is a devout white nationalist. Oh, shoot. I guess I shouldn't have said that. I hope it didn't do anything to me saying that. But he is proclaimed. The understudy of Marco Rubio, Beatty, whatever his name is. Another one. Elongated Muskrat, all the rest of them who are on there. These people are devout nationalists in a different way. They either A, do not care at all about America as it stands, because they have a bigger issue that they're trying to get across. Their bigger issue that they want to get across is domination. The other thing is they want, white mediocrity. And I'm gonna tell this one little story, and I want y'all to join in if y'all want to, and let's have a conversation about this here. So I'm from southwest side of Houston, all right, Fondren, West Belford, all right. Wasn't there all the time, but that was a pivotal time in my life. And so I remember we used to go to this one park in South Park, not Selinsky Park, I forgot the name of it. Anyway, used to go to this one park, and I remember there was this white boy. This boy was cold playing basketball. I was decent. I love football, but I would still go out there and try to play basketball. I'm one of those ones, I'm scrappy. But I'm not finna shoot 30 points. I'm not finna get you 30 points. I'm not finna get you 18 rebounds. I ain't doing none of that. But anyway, I used to go out there and play, but I was cool. So we go out there, hang out and stuff like that. But he went by white supremacy. That was his name. But he only played against blacks because he would tell you in a minute, I'm the coldest one out here. I am supreme over everybody. He would say that. And no one looked at it wrong, because we knew exactly what it is that he meant. He was talking about on the basketball court. That's the only time he ever said it. That's the only time. And he would get upset if you used that around him outside of that, because he understood something. And I remember, we're teenagers. So I remember he told me, he was a little older than me, but I remember he said one day, he was like, you got to understand what words mean. People don't understand what words mean. And that's always stuck with me. And so my mother, being the ultimate hustler / English major, used to always say, you better understand what words have meaning. They say something, they mean something. Say what you mean. Say what the words mean. And I think that that's where we get into trouble, is we don't have enough people with the vocabulary to be able to express what's really going on and how they really feel and what they really think. And I think that's part of the problem. So you get people who get caught up in this cult of the Cheeto Jesus, and instead of being able to say, you know what, I can deal with this one isolated thing, but these over here are a problem. They can't do that because they can't separate it, because for them it's either all or nothing. You're in a bucket. So they don't have the vocabulary or the language necessary to be able to show or effectively say how they feel. So they end up putting everything into one. And then once they dig themselves into that one, they stay there. So yes, there are people who had problems and trouble from after President Obama. But the problems were not President Obama's fault, but he was the head. And that's normal. Whoever's the head, if you work at a company, we all know that we always blame whoever's at top. And it may be somebody in the mid-level who's ruining it, but we don't see them. We go to the top. So it's never an issue about blaming the top person. The issue comes from blaming blaming that top person and then attributing their whole being to your life, the ills of your life, good or bad. My life was much better under the later stages of Obama, but that also was because my career was in a better spot. Just was. And that's what I think a lot of people fail to realize. Your life is usually going to be tied to the type of economic status you have. That means money. So if you have a job and you've been on your job for a certain amount of time and it gets better and better and better and better, you're not caring about the president. But all of a sudden say you lose your job and the people there start blaming it on, oh, these democratic policies or these right here, then you'll start to associate your hardship to that. And I think this is where people start to mess up. I'm trying to make sure I stay clean here. That's where they start to mess up because they're attributing the ills of their job to whoever's in charge. And I think about, and I'll say this, I'll use this as an example. So when the Affordable Care Act, ACA, we already know, if you don't know, now you're going to hear for the first time, they did surveys and asked a bunch of the same people. These were the exact same people. So it wasn't like one group over here and another group over here. What their impression was of Obamacare. And the impression was somewhere in the neighborhood of 29%, if I remember correctly, approval rate. And those same people said the Affordable Care Act had a 54% approval rating, 50 something over 50%. But I know it was a 35 point swing. And then side note, what pissed me off is they never told the person, that's the same thing, right? They never said that. But those who knew that it was a messaging issue. Because those are the same thing. Even if you signed up knowing you got what you got. There was never an Obamacare. It was always ACA. So when you went and signed up for this program, it never said Obamacare nowhere. But yet you still had a view that Obama was the reason why you had to pay this tax thing or whatever else, when that's not what it was. And I think that's one of those things this messaging problem, this issue that we have, and people not understanding words, and it pushes us to now. You have people who have sunk in and dug in so deep that they actually believe that a person who has done nothing for them physically, mentally, spiritually, or emotionally, well, I'll take that back. They have done something emotionally, but is actually making a change for the better in their life while you're sitting around watching all the people around you who you can tangibly touch go through hell. How does that make sense? And how do we justify this? How is it that so many people can justify the tariffs, getting screwed over, saying that the deal was bad, knowing that the person who set up here and said, I'm going to give you 1.2 billion, and they're laughing at you. The world is laughing at you. And then you can sit up here and say, yep, he got them. He got them right. Do you see how they caved? How is that possible? How did you get to that point? How did you get there? And that's what I want to know. Somebody tell me something. I see the people waving and stuff like that. And I thank you for all of the stuff. I thank you for the hearts. I thank you for all of the things you've given. I like that. I love that. TikTok, y'all want to join on. It is at Out There Bad. But how is it that people are actually sitting here being able to physically follow behind someone who is actively going against everything that they stand and believe in? Tell me how that makes sense. That's what I really want to know. How does that make sense? Anybody? Thank you for the university. Yeah, thank you. But how is it that this works for you? How did you get to that point? How did you get to that part? How did you get there? But you know what? Let me comment on down. Because I don't want to get worked up on this here. This is my first time doing a live on here, and I want to thank y'all for it. Now we're going to make sure that these are a lot more, concise and put to the point, and we're going to have specific things to work with. But I just want to come on here. I'm up late. Y'all up late. Let's have a conversation. Don't be scared to join in. Thank you. Thank you for the universe. Keep sending stuff. Thank you for the universe. And so here we are. you have the tariffs. You have a bunch of 18 to 25-year-olds, and then elongated muskrats old behind taking over $6 trillion of the American money. I don't even know if you can quantify how much 6 trillion is, because we've got so used to billion that we think that everybody just has to go billionaire, 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 billionaire. Like that's just nothing now. So, and now it's going to make trillionaire sound like it's almost nothing. But what is it that these people need access to that for? And why is it that we know that they took over it? Who gave it up that easy? Because if you can give it up that easy, guess what I think you could do to, I don't know, I'm just picking on countries now, like a German or a Swiss or someone from Korea or wherever, anywhere. Now, it didn't have to be anyone bad. But we have a lot of our freedoms and liberties taken away for the protection, but yet we can walk in here and let an unelected man, just have access blatantly in full display, like backed up the truck right to it. Like I'm talking about just pull up to the front, G style, like get out in broad daylight, dumping on fools and nobody say nothing. How is it that y'all can still justify this? And that's what I want to know. How is this still justified? This is supposed to be America, right? I just talked about words, verbiage, having understanding, being able to use your words. Aren't we supposed to be the smartest, the brightest, most qualified? You know where I'm going with this. All the stuff that we swear DEI is supposed to represent or not represent. But yet, the only way we can operate is through thievery, dishonesty, coercion, and crookedness. But I thought we were the best. You mean tell me we can't come up with a better economic system? You mean tell me we can't come up with, better voting system? You mean tell me we, as the best all the world and all this other kind of stuff, all the stuff we like to tell each other, we can't come up with a better schooling system? You mean tell me we can't come up with the best of all this stuff? There's a reason why we do not come up with the best of these things. And I'm sure y'all know. Main reason we don't come up with it is because the people who we used to say, and we used to act like was the Illuminati, these hidden people, don't want to, because it don't pay them enough. And to give you an example, Bill Gates is doing a lot of great in the world, with the vaccines and all that kind of stuff. He's doing an amazing job with all of the healthcare things. They say to cure world hunger every year is in the neighborhood of $60 billion. No one can go without it. It doesn't mean everybody's going to have steaks and all that, but no one will go hungry in the world for around $60 additional billion a year. Not 600 billion, not 6 trillion. And we have Warren Buffett, we have 9 people who are worth over 100 billion. And we have elongated muskrat barreling towards $500 billion. And you mean to tell me you got to sit up here and not just spend your money, but you have to now take everybody else's too? You want to be a supervillain so bad. And then that's what's even worse is you're bad at it. It's a whole lot easier to like some evil people when you know that they do good. Because they used to be the thing about dope dealers. Like we know that dude was selling dope, but he come back to the hood and he give turkeys and he give backpacks and he got bikes for Christmas. He got back to school. He does all this stuff for the community. But he's still selling drugs. And we know that. And you don't like that. And you like trying to convince him, hey, dude, put your money in a real business to get out of this. Stop selling that poison. You do all that stuff. But then on the other hand, you're like, man, this dude is them people that woman who's getting her lights turned off. He found out he went and gave her money and gave enough to buy furniture in their house. And he went over here and this person, and somebody died over here. So you know what he did? He went over here and paid for funerals because he was like, that was wrong. There was that. Now you have access to be able to cure world hunger. And that's not on your mind, but guess what is on your mind? gaining access to $6 trillion so you can cut out U.S. aid because in your home continent of Africa, you don't like how the blacks are taking over. Because that's what it's about. Every single thing from wanting to annex Canada and Greenland. Greenland because of minerals and is mostly, Euro. All right. It is very white. Canada, same way. You mean to tell me a place that already has multiple states, you want to make it into one? But Puerto Rico and DC are sitting right there. You follow what I'm saying? So, but we can't make Puerto Rico a state, even though it's a U.S. territory. Can't make DC one. Too many. DC stand for dark country. Too many of us. Too many colors over there. Can't do that. But this makes sense to you. This somehow to you gains traction. And then the media makes it worse by sitting up there asking these stupid questions and propagating and perpetuating that same thing. They're perpetuating that same question. So how did you feel about, this right here, which is just what the internet, that's not how it's supposed to work. The news isn't supposed to recite what social media is saying. You can have a segment for that. You could be like, this is what the streets are talking about. This is what this here is talking about. Thank you for that, Ethan Wilson. You can talk about all that. You can do all of that kind of stuff, but that's not how it's supposed to work. That's not how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to be, hey, this is what's happening. No matter what other people are saying, you're supposed to be like, this is what it is. This is what's happening. I want you to know that this is what's happening. Well, I saw on the internet that this here, cool. You saw on the internet it's raining? Walk outside. Is it raining? Well, I mean, it might be raining somewhere. That wasn't the point. They're talking about where you are right now. Is it raining? Yes or no? And you out there saying no, but the internet said it's raining, so it must be raining. How do you get to this point? I just want to know, because everybody say I'm very harsh on, the MAGA people and all that kind of stuff. And I don't mean to be, but I just really want to know psychologically how you got there. Because a lot of people were very intelligent. At least in some ways, they could hold jobs. They could do certain stuff like that. So, you have to be some kind of intellect. Something is there. How do you get so deep that you can't get out of it? And that's what I want to know. How did you get so deep into this here that you can't get out of it? So now when they make comments about they want to turn, this is nice property that's 12,000 miles away, off the coast that they want to take over. So the stepson and his daughter that he wants to have, relations with can make more money on it. Let's not forget that they got $2 billion from China, the same country that they say that they hate so much, but yet they're always there. And that's why I would say, to back up, and then I'm going to get off of this and we can go on to another subject because I don't want to wear y'all out on this one here. When all of the billionaires, and I've kind of said this, if you see one of our videos, I've said this here, but I think it bears repeating. Those people who sat up here at the inauguration, who were sitting behind that row of billionaires, they were not there to bow down and kiss the ring. They were there to check on their investment. And the example I give is when you have a spouse who's loose, or if you have a mate, a boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever else who's loose and wild, but you need them because, all the stuff is in their name. But they wild. When they go places, you know what you do? You sit in there, you show up, you pop up. You know why? Because you want to make sure that they still good. Because you know that the first person who tell them that they pretty or that they handsome or something like that, they might be gone. So you go there and you watch it and say, oh, and so you keep their mind focused on you. That's what was happening. Because they know that as soon as Cheeto got there around them other people and everybody started praising him, he's subject to forget about Elongated Muskrat. Or, the new whoever he's supposed to be now with his little fro and everything else, the Zucks. They forget about all that kind of stuff. Now he's on something different now. He's on a whole different, because they had to be there. It's like, man, we spent a lot of money on this. And we know Muskrat spent almost $300 million to ensure that he became, president. So how do you not believe, I should say, correction, how do you not believe that doesn't mean that by having Twitter, X, all this money, being on primary competitors, being able to pay for ads, all this stuff and having access to everything, that you couldn't sway an election. See, y'all thought that only way they could sway an election was to physically tamper with boxes. That's the sleight of hand. They're saying this over here, so you'll go over here and look. Oh, look over here, yeah. I think they messing with and then they'll get you to go like, you know what they may be? I need to go check this. Yeah, how come y'all won't tell us what's inside the boxes? While they over here just saying, let's get all these people kicked off the rolls so they can't vote. Because that's what they do. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. And that's what I don't think you understand. What they're doing is they're kicking people off the rolls. So that's how they manipulated the voting. That's how they did that. So in areas where, guess what, it's a tight race, they just shave off a few thousand here and there. So now this state goes from one to the next because we already know that most people don't vote. I'll give you an example. Texas had 11 million people who voted, but they had 19 million registered. So that means didn't matter who won. There was more people. If all the people who didn't vote had voted for Mickey Mouse would have won. That's how it was in America as a whole. He was like, oh, you got 75 million votes. That means half the world. No, it is not half of America. It's barely a third of the voting people. And let's keep in mind, there are people who voted for him who did not want to vote for him. They just didn't want to vote for a woman. There are also people who did not want to vote for him who voted for her who would not have voted for her if there was another choice. There's all that kind of stuff. Yeah, all that factors into it. But when it's all said and done, this is where we are. And I still will keep coming back to this same question. How do we get in this spot where you can be so blinded by the inhumanity that a person is doing? How does that happen? I mean, tell me, how do you get that? How do you get so lost into it? Thank you for the universe. How do you get so lost and so wrapped up in it that that's where you are? How does that happen? Y'all hit the like button, hit the hearts, hit the likes. Let's get these numbers up. How is it that a person who can believe? I want to hear from some of these MAGA people. Tell me, how'd you get there? What about this here makes you say yes? And if it's purely just hate, spite, xenophobia, racism, cool. Say that. I'd rather you stand on that than be one of the ones who try to lie to me in my face, talk about, well, I mean, the real reason is, yes, because we do need to make sure that these immigrants aren't over here coming and taking my jobs as I work in Dover, Delaware, where there are none, but this is where I work at. And I remember there was this one guy, Lopez came up here one day as the manager, and I ain't like it because he was mean to me. No, don't tell me that BS, because now you just lying. You're trying to figure out a way to pacify because you know that something was wrong. You know what you're saying and thinking is wrong, but you don't want to do that. You don't want to admit that. So you're just going to act like it's something else. So if it's just the hate, say that. I'd rather you just be like Stephen Miller and all the people behind Cheeto Jesus. Be like Steve Bannon and just say, we just want more white people. Because when we start looking at all the stuff, DEI, oh, we need qualified people. All you're trying to do is make sure that it is known that the only people who are considered to be qualified is white. Anything else, gay, handicapped, military, unless you know, square jaw white guy. But outside of that, can't be right. And you have to ask yourself, why is that? How does that affect you? You do know you're not an air traffic controller. You ain't got that job. You ain't qualified for that. Name a job. And I really want to know. So anybody can tell me, like put it in the comments or something, put it in there somewhere. Name a job that you know of that had no problems hiring people that lowered the standards so other people couldn't get in. Because I do know one. Y'all want to know what it is? You want to know the one job that had it lowered, the standards lowered to allow more people to get in? Police officers. You used to have a certain amount of education. You used to have a certain amount of training, a certain amount of everything. They usually wanted military people. They wanted people who had some kind of something behind them. They would send you through. You had to hit a certain score in your testing. They lowered it. You know why? Couldn't get people in. But here's the funny part. The more they lowered that, the more they lowered it, guess who started to be able to get in? Because it was always hateful people. It was always a whole bunch of the supremacists. You know, we're not going to say who, but you know who. It was always some of those Klan members and those ones who were with all these weird names and the Knights and all the kind. They was always going there. But once they lowered the standards, a whole lot more people were able to get in. And guess who was now able to get in? Billy Bob and all the other friends. So now they had a whole coalition, a whole clan of them, of the Klan was inside now as police officers. But name something else. It has not gotten easier to become a doctor. It has not become easier to become a pilot. It has not become easier to work at the bank. Where has it become easier? Even as a teacher, I know people who complain about lowering certain standards for teachers. But then when you really sit down, and I've talked to different teachers and stuff, and you sit down and you break it down and talk to them a little bit more. It's not that the standards were lowered. They opened the net more to be able to bring in more people. So it used to be they would only look at like certain universities, certain college degrees only. Then they started using multiple different degree systems. Or they said, okay, if you don't have a degree, but you have enough of this, you got the certificate, then we'll put you in this other way and then kind of feed you through there like a farm system, like kind of like how baseball does. You know, okay, we think there's potential here. You're not coming up to the majors. We got this single A. You make it through single A and hit good 312, and then we'll move you up to double A. As long as you keep hitting above 300 or throwing these pitches above 90, we'll get you on up. And that's what happened. But the only one that was not like that they lowered standards is police officers. And we know what happened with that. So how come y'all seem to think that because Cheeto and all these other people around him said that DEI, especially with Hegseth and all them who are literally unqualified people, are able to sit in there and say to you, look you dead in your face and say, it's because those people are unqualified and you believe it. How is that possible? How is that? How did you get there? Come on now, here, y'all hit the like button. So no, let's get these up. Hit the like button. Set some hearts. But how is it that we got there? How is it that y'all got to that part? How is it that y'all sat here and really just tell me, how did you get to the point where you could be part of them God cult and hear Cheeto Jesus and all of the people around him say this stuff that, oh, it's because of this. And it's coming out of the mouth of a person who used to watch Get Drunk on Saturday night TV, on Saturday afternoon TV. What in your mind allowed you to believe, qualified, person been doing the job, not qualified? Because they might look a little like this, or they're a woman, or they're gay, or they're a little, or whatever else, trans or something. How does that happen? How did we get here? And how did you because there used to be those people who were on the fringe, and everybody used to look at them people and laugh at them. But social media gave them a voice. And part of it is, and I say our fault, I'm saying the collective whole, because what'll happen is we'll hear something completely outrageous and stupid, and then we'll share it. Y'all look at how stupid this is, just magnifying it even more. And there's a way to get around that. Yeah, you still want people to show it? Man, screenshot that and then send that or something like that. Don't send the video. You're just adding more to it. You got more comments going to it, but don't do that kind of stuff unless it's something that you really believe in or it really needs to be discussed. But we amplified these people and now they're in government. And I'm still torn because I used to say that, and I'm going to go ahead and close this out. I'm going to get back to the Grammy talk because I was asked why I'm not talking about Grammys. I used to always say that there was a cold civil war going on. Hopefully I wasn't supposed to not say that. I might. But anyway, you say that there was a cold, war going on. And because think about it, when that ended, those people did not disappear. They weren't wiped off the face of the earth. They didn't just overnight say, oh, okay, well, we lost, so everybody's free, everything. No. They went and became council members. They went back to their towns. They became bank leader and the school teacher and the branch manager and the sales guy and the winos and the drunks but then they also ran the gas station. Them same people was around, and then they had children, and they taught those children, and then those people had children. Now we're at 1920s, 1930s, 1940s. Then them people had children. Then they standing outside throwing stuff and looking on against the Little Rock Nine, or the people who were trying to go to school, integrate school, and now it's an old man who owns a football team. The people here. So what do you think they were talking about? What do you think they were doing? So when this cold, so what was going on? This is what I used to think, that those people just never gave up. And then I started thinking about, I was like, I think it evolved. I have to evolve my stance on that. These are just new people and new things, and they found a way. I believe half of them are a grift. They are just getting the money. They will sell you out in a minute. They don't care about, they'll act like they're all about, Euro Americans, and they're really not. They'll just use that to get to the money. We see this in the black community all the time, where it's your C. Owens and all these other people who will just do whatever it takes to get to the money, even if it means being blackface, actual blackface person. And I think this is what's happening. I think that's what's going on with some of these people. They are grifting. And then you have the others who really do believe in the hatred and inhumanity of others. And I just want to know, why are they there? How did you get there? How was that you could look at the humanity of another, the inhumanity of another person, and stand on that? Because we should know by now that hating those people will not bring you health care. Hating those people will not bring new jobs to your community. You ain't qualified for those jobs, no way. I don't care how much you sit up here and whine and complain that Indians are taking all the tech jobs. Blacks are taking all the nursing jobs. Hispanics are taking all the factory jobs, or whatever, and whatever. You ain't qualified. You work at the grocery store and you won't go do nothing else. And there's nothing wrong with working at the grocery store. What I'm saying is, there's a bunch of people who aren't qualified for nothing more than the job that they are doing, but want to have the audacity to get upset and think that by hating someone else is going to improve your standings. When has that ever happened? When has that ever worked where you said, I'm going to hate on this person? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about people who are all competing for a position and you sabotage someone else. That's a selfish thing, and that's something that's still wrong in every form of facet. But at least with a smidge, you can say, okay, that was for a selfish reason, and everybody saw it. You stepped on that woman like that on purpose. You told that story that she was screwing everybody, and now everybody looking at her funny so you could win. Okay, but how is it that a person, you in Denver, Colorado, and you talking about somebody in Mississippi, or you in Alabama talking about somebody who's in, thank you for that, who's in for the universe, and now you talking about somebody who is in LA. How does that work? How does that help you? And I really want to know. Ask somebody, comment something. I want to know, how is it in your mind you get to that point? How does that happen? How does that happen? How do you get there? How do you believe that what's happening, what somebody else eats, is going to make you use the bathroom? That's the clean version. Y'all know what it really says. What you eat don't make me, whatever. But seriously, how does that work? How do we get there? And that's that's some of the things I've never been able to hear from people. You got access to the internet. There's nothing that a person can tell you whether or not you can't check if it's a lie or not. But yet, you'll still fall for it. And then you want to come out here and go online and social media and everything else and make everybody else believe that this lie is somehow the truth. And they're playing chess and you playing checkers. Well, damn it, what if the game is checkers? And that go for all the, the Democrats too. Don't stop all that stuff where you sort of walk out there with your glasses hanging off your nose right here, acting like you really saying something. Don't nobody give a damn. Don't nobody care about none of that stuff. We want action. You're seeing people who are looking at you crazy, who are sitting up here passing out crazy. Like, hey, you want crazy? Here you go, some crazy. How about you? You want crazy? Here you go, some crazy. Got more crazy. Here you go, crazy right here. You want crazy? And then y'all sitting around here talking about, I just can't believe, I believe we're above this. No, the hell we not. This crazy is getting passed around. So at what point are they going to do something? Because remember I said earlier, 20% of these people are apathetic. They know how to do something. They can do something, but they're not. And that's right now is most of Congress. They can do something. They are purposely seceding their power. How is that possible? They were voted in to operate on behalf of their constituents. Their constituents are everybody in that 700,000 if they're in the House of Representatives, or however many people in that state. All of them, not just the ones they like. Because we can all see it and understand it. Like if your child was in school and you found out your teacher did not like you, like your child, how would you feel? Your teacher don't like your child because your child is your child. And they know that you voted a certain way, or they know that you was mean to these people, or they know that you did this, or you look a certain way, or you whatever. You know how that feels, but yet you can accept and are cool with congressmen who represent every aspect of your life because money is involved. As long as money is involved, it represents your life. How much taxes you pay, if your streets get fixed or not, everything, what kind of money your schools are getting. If we have new and real world changes to make our system better. And I said earlier, we are supposed to be the smartest. You know what we can do? It's very easy to fix a lot of this stuff. We just have to have the willpower to want to. And at some point, you people have to understand that, hold on a second. You people are going to have to realize at some point, because I'm finna get off of here. You're going to have to realize at some point, they work for us. We don't work for them. It's not like you put them in office and then they're like, well, we have to just go by whatever they say. And they're relying on that. They are relying on the fact that you will be that 20% of apathetic people, because we already know 20% of the folks ain't going to do nothing because they don't know, they ain't engaged, they don't care, they checked out, they worried about their own stuff, good, bad, or indifferent. And we know that there's 20% of people who want to do something, but they just can't do anything. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to be. And then we know that there's those diehards who sycophants who are going to be there regardless. And we know that there's those other ones who are absolutely anti no matter what it is that's happening. So the only people who are supposed to stand in line to defend us is that group who is apathetic. And they're supposed to pull some of those people who wish they could do something but can't. And then they're supposed to pull some of those people who are 100% opposite and against. And then they're supposed to pull from those people who are diehards on the other side. But why aren't they? Because they'll never have this conversation and never ask the questions of why, how'd you get to where you are? And after that, I'm gonna end this on the Grammys so we can go. Thank you for that. Thank you for the universe. Thank you for your universes. How I said, and I'm gonna go back because some of the comments keep saying go back to Grammys. So I want to talk about the Grammys. One, I want to know from y'all, what was y'all best? Who would y'all think gave the best performance? One, I had never heard of Ray before. Fire. That lady was singing up behind her. She went up there with no shoes on. She was jamming. Doechii, fire as well. I know hard pivot, hard turn. Hey, this ain't what you want. This is what the show is. That's what the show's gonna be. By the way, y'all make sure y'all go subscribe. It's Trier TV on YouTube. Trier TV. Trier spelt like it sounds. Trier. Trier TV. Y'all can follow me Out There Bad on everything. Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, everywhere. Wherever you can type in Out There Bad, you'll find me. Also, the new episodes will be coming out this week of This Ain't What You Want. And thank you all and for sitting up here and listening to me ramble for an hour. But we're going to have more conversations more often. Thank y'all.